Jeff Michael, I appreciate you coming on, man.
Yeah.
We were talking just before this. Y'all's show has just gotten recently picked up, like for a bunch of stations on the West Coast.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. So we signed on with iVox, which is sort of like a Netflix, and they put it up there, and they have an outline for us, and the goal was to get the ultimate goal is to get syndicated. Correct. I mean, that's what you want to do if you're in this business, and that's where the money's at, and that's how you broaden your show up. So this is one step towards that, and we're going to start. We'll have a live show 7 to 9 a.m. on the West Coast starting this coming up Monday, which is six days from now, which is pretty interesting.
That's awesome.
And we'll record it here, obviously, and then it's live there 9 to 11 Central Time, and then 7 to 9 on West Coast time.
Is there a studio here that you guys have?
Yes, yes, sir.
Kind of like a corporate one.
Yeah, there's a studio that we go to over in the Heights and record.
Cool, man. That's awesome, man.
Yeah, it's wild, man. It's been a ride.
How long did it take you to get there?
So this month, what are we in March? So this will be 2 years. It'll be 2 years that I've, I sat in my garage one night and came up with this whole idea.
Sports with balls.
Yeah, sports with balls. Well, it was a buddy of mine, man, and he was a big stoner, man. Just loved weed, man. And we used to sit in my garage, and he would live down the street, and he's since passed away.
How many stories in life have started this way?
Exactly, yeah, man. And it's just I never got into that, but I don't mind people that do or whatever. It's no big deal. People come over, sit in my man cave in my garage, and we sit down and watch sports, have a good time.
Yeah.
So one day he just comes over. He's like, I got the name for it, because we had been talking about it for a while. And he's like, sports with balls, bro. And I was like, man, that is awesome. I was like, that is perfect. And it just kind of took off from there. And it's been a hell of a ride. But Johnny J started with us, when we first got going, and it just once he said that the Sports with Balls name, I went out like 2 nights later, and there was I don't know if you've ever been. Remember that club Aura?
Yeah.
Yeah. And so I went out there, and it was like 10 o'clock. Nobody was there. It's early, 10 o'clock for a club, absolutely early. And Tony Styles comes down. He's like, man, we just opened up this podcast studio, and I was like, really? Interesting. So like the cards just kept falling into place, man, and then it's been a blessing. It's been crazy, man. It's a full-time job for me now.
Really? You do this
full-time?
Mm-hmm. That's fucking cool, though.
Yeah, I get to watch sports and talk about sports, and I was quarterback, and dude, my high school career was like the movie, right? Like dated the cheerleader, the quarterback of the football team, the captain of the basketball team. I mean, just like right down that road. It's pretty funny, and I've just always been real sports oriented. Like people are always like, man, you got to do something with sports. So.
But outside of like, how fucking cool is that you're doing that? You're not playing the sports, but you're literally making a living still on sports.
Yeah, exactly. It took me forever. It did. I mean, to figure out what I wanted to do. I'm 44 years old now, and I didn't. This is something that completely engulfed me, and I'm infatuated with, and I love it. And I don't think that I've loved doing anything except for sports as much as I've loved doing this. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. This is it's a blast for me. It's a lot of fun, and you get to reach out to people and touch people, and direct people, and people have come up to me and said, man, I love your show, and that's just cool. It's a cool feeling. You're like, wow.
Yeah.
Wow, I didn't know I could do that.
Yeah. Well, yeah. I mean, you're literally taking something that to most people appears to be a hobby. You're sitting around bullshitting about sports with your buddies and having these conversations, but you're having, I've listened to your show. You guys are having like real conversations, like the real kinds of conversations people would have. You're not, it's not like this, 10,000 foot view that you find on like ESPN or, the Dan Patrick Show, stuff like that. You guys are having real conversations. Like that's like what people dig. And that's what
it's based upon. That was my idea for him, because when COVID hit, ESPN, it's all it was. It's political, right? And I'm not. That's one thing that's out of my shows. Politics, we just take it all out. And all ESPN did was just talk about politics, and it was just driving me nuts. And all it is a bunch of guys that know a bunch of stats and a bunch of ex-players. Well, what about the guys that sit in their garage and bullshit about sports all the time? What about their opinions? Because, I don't care if you know what Joe Montana did in 1987 in the fourth game. Like, I don't care. Like, I want to know your opinion about this. It's a real show for, like, real sports fans, you know, that don't need all those stats and everything. We just sit around and we bullshit about sports. And that's what it's all about. It was fun.
Yeah, because you can go off into the weeds for people like that do the fantasy football and all that stuff. And there are people out there that can literally tell you about what the Bears did back in the 80s. And
the analytic guys.
Yeah,
oh,
they're
my
just
goodness.
insane. But like that's for me that's like completely talking over my head. I'm a very like math oriented person, but when it comes to like sports and stuff like that, I want to enjoy the essence of what the sport is. Like that's real.
And I've got a few ideas coming, like hopefully because you have to have an end goal. And somebody asked me this, I guess it was two weeks ago. They were like, "Man, what's your end goal?" And I was like, "Whoa." Because I've been so busy, I haven't really thought about where this is all going. Like, where am I going to end up? Like, do I want to be on TV? Do I want to be a personality? Do I want to do this? Do radio? Or where the show's going to go? Because usually when you start something like this, and which has kind of happened already, it branches off, right? Your original idea is never the end idea, you know. So it's been a lot of fun trying to figure that out, and I've got some ideas and some things in the works that are coming up. And man, it's a blast to be able to do this and just, you know, talk about sports.
Now you started it. There was 3 of y'all originally, or there was you and another guy. Because right now you have a female co-host.
Yeah, Lauren Leal. She's my co-host with me for sure.
Smoking.
Yeah, Lauren is a man. You know, it's so funny, and we've talked about this because there's people that are like, they ask me, you know, "Oh my gosh, if you guys hooked up," you know, and I'm like, "No way, man!" Like Lauren and I, strictly business, professional, keep it that way, and you have to, you know, to make things work.
Absolutely.
And she's amazing. She's been great for the show, and between. You know, because she does TV right now as well, and she works for the University of Houston, the Cougars, and you know she does stuff for the CW, and so Lauren's gorgeous, and she knows her stuff, and she bought in to the show when we first started, and man, I'll tell you a story. Like when she came on. And a buddy, the guy that came up with the Sports with Balls name, right? He was on, and he's the stoner, man. Dimitri, rest in peace, man. I loved that guy. He was amazing, but he introduced me to her, and then so I was like, well, let's go sit down and do an interview, you know, and see what's it about. So I come to this interview in like just jeans and just like a polo shirt and a yellow notepad with a pen. I'd only done like 5 shows prior to meeting her, and she comes in dressed to the nine. A briefcase, a laptop. I mean, prepared as all prepared can get. And I just have a yellow notepad, and I'm like, and she's sitting across from me like you are, and I'm like, oh crap.
She's gonna destroy you.
I was like, wow. She's like, so what's your goal for this? What do you want to do? Like, blah, 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 how long have you been doing this? And I was like, I've been doing this a month. And she's like, wait. She's like, what? I was like, yep. I was like, that was. She's like, so you've never been in broadcasting? I was like, nope. I've never done any of this. She's like, holy crap, you know. And it went good, and she bought into it, and she loved the idea of the show and loved being on it. And she has done this thing not pro bono, but it's not like we were killing it, you know, at all. You know, you got to get advertisers, sponsors, stuff like that. So she's been amazing and held on to it, and it's now all the fruits of the labor are starting. You can start to see the tree kind of growing now, and it's been amazing. And I gotta thank her for as much as she's put up with me for almost 2 years now.
Well, listening to the show, like she knows her shit.
Yes,
well,
for
I
sure.
mean, she was, and this really, I guess, but she was a NFL cheerleader for a while for the Texans.
In 2014, she was voted the hottest cheerleader in the entire NFL.
Yeah,
and I'm like, I always bring that up to her.
Well deserved.
I'm like, yeah. I'm like, oh, this is my co-host, hottest cheerleader in all of NFL. I love it.
But she's clearly been around it, so like she knows her shit.
Oh,
like,
she's taught me so much about how to be professional around professionals.
Yeah,
you know, with athletes. Yeah, she's been around athletes. She does interviews for all of them.
Yeah,
you know? Yeah. She's been around it for a while.
I say this all the time because like even like today's International Women's Day, stuff like that. It's like women are so much better at that kind of stuff than we are. Like men, we have a very simple brain. Like we look at stuff. We're like, okay, let's figure it out. Let's make it happen. Mm-hmm. We have kind of that prehistoric mindset that's just hasn't changed over a million years. Women have evolved so much, and like they come with it. They're like this. They know what to do. They've evaluated it, and they're prepared. And listening to y'all show, she is on her shit.
Yeah.
I love it.
She's very prepared.
Yeah.
And very I love having her on there, and because when she's not on the show, which sometimes she's busy and I have to do it, I turn into the host.
Yeah.
And it's different. And you're a host of this show. It's different hosting than kind of just being able to give your opinion. And she's taught me a lot, man. Lauren's been fantastic. But yeah, I mean, I started the show by myself, and then it just kind of I had that guy Dimitri on for a little bit, and then we brought in Grant, who you're probably referring to.
Yes.
Yeah, Grant Miles, unbelievable. I call him the calming. I mean, he's just got such that deep radio voice, and he's so stoic, man. He was awesome, and I wish that Grant would have been able to keep going with the show with us, but the problem, he got a job offer and just couldn't pass it up because, of course, the show hadn't taken off and done anything yet, and so he got a great job offer, and he still comes on when he can. We had him on the Super Bowl special, but yeah, he had to go take an offer. But if anything ever comes up where he can make that his full-time job, we would love to have Grant back for sure.
Well, it's ironic because obviously I've been trying to get you on for a few weeks, and you're busy, man, full-time dad.
Yes, sir.
You got your own thing going on, so I was going to try to get you on around the time of the Super Bowl.
Yep.
But ironically, it's ironic that you're on today and being able to kind of share some of this information about y'all's show is that do you watch Joe Rogan? Do you watch any of those shows at all?
A little bit.
Okay. So yesterday he had Mr. Beast on.
Apparently. Yeah, I saw that.
Man, they're going through and they're talking about it. He's talking about Mr. Beast's show and all this stuff. And so if I'm at the parody, I'm sitting here listening to you and how you've taken your show and grown it and everything and the hard work. See, a lot of people start this with the sole intention of, I want to make money.
Yes.
I want to come and do this. Well, let me be very clear. This, doing this is fun. Not making money doing this.
Yes.
You're not going to, to start out, you're not going to make money. If you get to the point where you're at, you can make money, you can live your life and do this as a full-time job. That's a fucking blessing. If you can go out and buy a Tesla or a Maserati off of that, oh my God, even better.
Yeah, you got lucky.
Yeah,
like for sure.
You're the unicorn.
Yeah.
But just so many people start this. They start this with saying, "Man, I've got great content, and I'm going to be huge." Man, it's a grind.
It is definitely a grind. It's 2 years, that I've been doing this almost daily.
Yeah.
For 2 years, and it's been, once you start this, it's just like you said. You think that you're just going to start a podcast and be famous and make all this money. That is not even close to the case. There's millions of them out there. There's people with your ideas, and people have great content everywhere. It's how you present the content, how you put it out there, how you there's a lot of things that go into it on a day-to-day basis, and you can work hard and you can get somewhere for sure. Now, getting lucky and becoming famous and all that's luck. It really is. Working hard is going to get you somewhere for sure, but in order to make all those millions in the Maseratis and stuff, no, that's luck. That's just somebody flipping through YouTube, finding you at the right time and right moment and going, oh wow, that sounds interesting. I commented on Joe Rogan's post yesterday because it was his 1178 show, and I just did 178. So I was
wow, okay.
And so I was like, man, he was an inspiration. I was like, that's cool. And it's a blessing to even be able to get to 178 shows, man.
Yeah.
That is, I've already surpassed what I ever thought that I would be doing. Way past it. I never thought I would have any of this stuff, and especially not starting a radio show on the West Coast, in 6 days. That's crazy.
So go into that though. I think we kind of, I heard you guys talking about it on the show when you guys made the first announcement about it, and I think we might have even chatted about it a little bit that, you're not only doing an hour, you're doing an hour-long show, but you guys are doing their sports breaks, their sports minutes, and all that stuff over there too.
Yeah, so we'll have we're gonna do the sports minutes for them, which is we'll record that in the morning, and they run that. It's the same exact recording at the end of any sports show at the end of hour or end of every hour on radio, or whatever. You'll hear a minute and a half of just basically a news flash, sports flash. So we'll do those, and they'll air those, and then during the morning and afternoon, and then we'll record another one for the evening. They'll run those all night. But now, the 2-hour show is the big thing. 9 to 11 here, 7 to 9 there, and that's one more step to get syndicated. And they have a plan laid out for us. Their plan is for us to be on TV by May 1st, which would be, that's a whole nother level, and I got to get ready for that. I don't know if I'm TV ready. Lauren,
Oh yeah, yeah.
Lauren's she's fine with it. She's been on TV all the time, but me, I'm I don't know. I need a tan, dude. Like, have you
Right.
seen me sitting next to her?
Yeah, oh, yeah.
It's awkward.
Oh yeah. I don't. Well, let's be honest. Unless you're like Brad Pitt sitting next to her,
Yeah.
it's gonna be. It's hard. I mean, yeah, she's a beautiful specimen of a human being.
Yeah,
you know, and we there's us.
She's
you know, we're
tan
like,
and her hair is perfect, and I'm like, I take 2 seconds and just do this. I'm like, all right, I'm fine now.
Exactly. But I, you know, again, I think that goes back to the guy thing that we just look at it from, hey, this was an idea, and we kind of hold on to that for a period of time. When you guys go through that, this was something I was wondering about. Do you guys get to write your own script for the show that you guys are gonna be doing, like your sports minutes, for example? I'm assuming that there's kind of some information, because I mean, obviously at this point it's y'all doing it kind of as a team. So even in that minute and a half.
Well, so I write every show. I've written every show from the very beginning.
And you do a full script?
I do guidelines because I want it to be raw.
Okay.
I want it to be natural, but I do want to give Lauren an idea of what we're getting into, right? So I write down, let's just say, you know, the shows that right now, the live shows are an hour. I'll write down 6 or 7 topics that we're going to get into, so she can, you know, and she'll hover over them for me, and she's great at knowing when to change the pace, when to get out of something and get into something. So I've written every show, and on the sport minute ones, I'll write those too. But now, say we're going on ESPN, because we do a lot of radio work for ESPN too, in here in Houston. So Sports Map Radio and stuff like that. They'll send us every morning at like 4:30, 5 o'clock in the morning. I mean, it's an 18-page document with all the breaking news, and it has all sports clips. It has, audios. It has videos. It has everything on it. Wow. I mean, so you can't run out of content. Like, I mean, because we were doing, week before Thanksgiving, we did a whole week there where we had 3-hour shows during the afternoon, 12 to 3 p.m. Covering 3 hours of sports 5 days a week is tough.
Yeah.
Like that gets a little rough, man. That's 15 hours of sports during a week, man. And, you know, luckily football was still going on, because right now this is a slow time, you know, for sports in general. But Aaron Rodgers' thing today broke, so tonight's show will be a lot of fun. But, yeah, I mean, I try to write every single show, and I try to make it entertaining and watchable for just the normal person that, you know, a lot of people are not that impressed with ESPN anymore. You know, they've fallen off the mothership, you know, as they like to call it. But, you know, I think that our show's relatable and it's fun. And we like to have a blast.
You guys add another element to your show because you do them on location. You guys are doing most of your shows, almost all your shows.
All of the shows are live, and yeah, we do. I shoot it at you know, some bars here in Houston that'll let us. You know, I've got a good deal with Christian's Tailgate over here in Houston, which, you know, they've been incredible for us. Yeah, I mean, shooting a live show is way different than, you know, any other way to record, because the producers are bringing equipment, bringing everything to these bars and to these places on set, man, and it's different. And I guess, in a way, it was kind of cool that it started that way, because now going to pre-recorded stuff and all that's easy for me. That's a walk in the park. Yeah, doing live shows is. I mean, you have to be on it right then.
Yeah, because not only you know, like we're doing this. This is being recorded, and you know, I'll put it out in a day or so after I do all the editing on it. But yeah, you guys are literally sitting in there having to be right on the spot.
Yep.
Be poignant, on topic for everything. Plus, you got all this shit going on around you. You got the servers. I mean, y'all are kind of like, I was watching at the Christian Tailgate. Y'all are kind of sitting in like a vehicle looking thing.
Well, yeah, because they have a little, like, it looks like the back of a pickup truck.
Yeah. And so there's got to be a ton of shit happening around you guys, where it's like the ability to get distracted is like.
Oh yeah, we get people yelling and screaming all the time, which is part of the show. You know, it's fun. You know, but of course, you know, when there's guys there, not to bring up Lauren again. I mean, they're just strictly focused. They're like, oh, what's that? You know, they just, you know.
It's like
my job's easier than Lauren's.
Yeah,
like for sure.
She probably. Yeah, I was gonna say she probably shelters you a lot, because she catches all this over here, and you're just able to, you know, you can like sneak off through the trap door in the back and be like, you'd be done.
The Super Bowl show was really cool at McIntyre's. You know, I'm sure you've been there in the Heights. That was really neat. Man, I love shooting on locations and live, and I've gotten used to it. You know, I've gotten really used to it, and I guess it's good for whatever's in the future. But you know, live shows are different, and we also have people commenting on the show, and you know, it's on like 5 different platforms, so I have to switch while I'm sitting there talking. I'm sitting there reading comments and switching between Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, and all these, and trying to get people's comments so I can, you know, try and reply to them as quick as possible. But
yeah, you know, I've got on here I do. I have a sports background, speed skating, stuff like that. So I have a big connection with that community. So having, I do via Zoom. I've had, several Olympians on,
nice.
Coaches, things like that coming on, talking, having to do some of them via Zoom. But there's a show that gets done on Facebook, and it's live, and it's called JD Happy Hour. And it's a couple old skaters. One's an old skater, coach, referee. One's a coach, and they do this shit live. And so just made me I don't know how you fucking do it. I did a live show. So my buddy, my best friend and I, we grew up skating together, known each other since we were 10. We did a live on New Year's, and we just sat there and talked and bullshitted about whatever. It was 3 hours, and it was on, and we broadcast it out to Facebook. And the comments coming through, I'm about to rip my fucking hair out. I'm freaking out. I don't know how anybody else does this. I couldn't imagine. Now you're throwing that other element in. You guys got to be on topic. Yeah, you got your script more or less. You got your bullet points. You guys are having to play off each other. Make sure you're not running over top of each other. Then you got all the other bullshit happen over here, and you're fucking having to do that shit on the screen.
Oh yeah, but after a while, it just gets. You get used to it. You really do. I don't know any other way to do it now. I don't. So I'm just used to it. I have no problem. And a lot of the people that are commenting are regulars. We have a lot of regular people that watch the show constantly and comment. And, sports is very opinionated. So I get some nasty messages every week, man. It's pretty funny. But, it's just, I love doing it. So it's not that big of a deal. And I had this guy message me the other day. It's actually used to be an acquaintance of mine, right? And he's just like, you think you know everything about fucking sports, blah, blah, blah. And I was like, man, look, I never said that. I never once said I know everything about sports. What I will tell you is that people value my opinion.
Sure.
And that's why I have this show. And that's it. And people are like, oh, Facebook's so weird. It's just an interesting place, especially to do a live show. When I started, we did the first two or three shows was just audio.
Yeah.
And then one night, it was during COVID, Garth Brooks had a live concert that he put on Facebook. Do you remember that?
Yep,
okay.
Yep.
I was hammered in my man cave, absolutely wasted. I remember calling Johnny J and being like, dude, can you set up cameras? I didn't know you could do this Facebook live thing. What is this? And he's like, yeah, dude, we can set up. He's like, I'll bring a camera tomorrow. I was like, oh, okay. So the next day I show up over at Lucky's Pub. We had the studio above there. And I walk in, there's cameras set up. I sit down. I was like, what's this? He's like, dude, you called me last night about cameras. And I was like, oh, shit. And he was like, no, we're going live, dude. And he just pressed play, and then it hit. And then, it just kind of took off from there. And, obviously having Lauren on there and everything, helps out with aesthetically when you're scrolling through anything. It's like Instagram is just a bunch of half-naked women, probably. It's just, boop, you stop when you see a good-looking woman. So when you're scrolling through and you see a sports show or whatever, and you see a good-looking woman, you're like, oh, stop. If it's me and you shooting the shit about sports, people are going to keep scrolling.
Yeah, that's generic. That's the same thing every day.
If you have Lauren in the middle of us, oh, hold on.
Yeah.
What is that about? And that's just that's just sales 101, right? So it just worked out perfect, man. It's been great, dude. It's been a lot of fun, and shoot, man, I just get to talk about sports and trying to get paid more money for it.
Yeah, well, and that's you brought up an interesting point that look, you don't know everything about sports. You enjoy sports, and you have an ability to communicate about the sports.
Yes, exactly.
And that people like. It's amazing to me because doing this, same exact fucking thing. They're like, oh, you think you're fucking special. You think, no, I don't.
Yeah.
Not at all. I just enjoy doing this.
Mm-hmm.
And if people choose to listen and they actually like what I'm saying and like what I'm doing, cool.
Yes.
That makes me happy. But at the same time, it's like, nah, man, I'm just happy doing this.
Yeah. And that's what, in order to have a good show, like Joe Rogan, he loves doing his show, and go back to Howard Stern, who really kind of created this whole thing with podcasts and everything, I'm sure there were people before him, but he took it to a whole nother level. I remember when he got paid $100 million by XM Radio to have his show in there. I was like, holy crap. And the guy just sitting there shooting the shit, and he just loved what he do. And it's just like you said, it's able to communicate what you're trying to say where people can understand it, whereas others don't have that ability. They're too argumentative, or they're too this, they're too that. But yeah, you have a special way of presenting what you want out there to people, and they like it. And hey, if they like it, then great. That's what I'm here to do.
Well, that's bringing up Howard Stern is the one reason I started listening to him was because he would have conversations with people that I necessarily didn't care about. But through the conversation, it was like they humanized
Yes.
to me. And all of a sudden, I'm like, you know what? I may not like, that might not be my first choice, but I kind of dig it. Like, okay, cool. They're normal.
Yeah, they're like, this famous person is actually normal.
Yeah.
Like, that's wild.
And it's weird because if he would just boil it down to basically sex.
Yeah.
I mean, the most
Sex
common
sells.
denominator between everybody in the world is sex. And like when you kind of open that door with somebody and they answer it honestly, it makes it to where kind of the rest of the stuff's not so hard.
Yes.
Like you can have these conversations about a fucked up childhood or something like that. If you can talk about your sexual proclivities on air, you might be able to, you know, talk about
anything
something.
else.
Yeah.
Sure. Yep.
But it was funny because I remember listening to Howard Stern when this was, 2005, he was coming over Sirius XM. 2005, 2006, he was coming over Sirius at the time. And, you know, he went to school. He went to school of broadcasting. His dad was in radio.
Yep.
His dad recorded commercials and stuff for like big, you know, stars.
And he had that killer radio voice.
Yeah.
That, I mean, perfect for
booming.
radio.
And then Howard, on the other hand, was, you know, he had to work for it, and he kind of developed this personality. And well, anyway, I remember back in like 2012, 2010, 2011, 2012, podcasting had just started kind of taking off. Like it had just started. People were able to do it. They were able to kind of set up a microphone and just talk and go on whatever. And I remember vividly Howard like talking shit about it. He's like, these aren't fucking broadcasters. They're not this. They're not that. And he always got this sense that he was like, it was like his insecurity. Like he had to work to get into the radio. And these people are able to just set up a fucking microphone and put it out there on the internet. And then the Man Show, Adam Carolla, was the biggest podcast in the world at the time, and he was friendly with them. And, of course, these guys revered Howard, and they came on, they started talking to him. And then Joe Rogan started taking off. And I remember this vividly. Howard literally one day, he was saying he'd never fucking heard of Joe Rogan. Who is this fucking, you know, whatever. Even though he'd already been on 2 TV shows, and he was on Fear Factor and all this other stuff. UFC hadn't even started.
Yeah.
But he starts talking about who the fuck is this Joe Rogan guy and doing all this other stuff. And the very next day, Howard plays a clip of Joe Rogan. And it's literally Joe Rogan talking about how, you know, Howard Stern is one of the greatest broadcasters of all time. And like things like podcasting would not exist.
Yeah, without Howard.
Sure. Without the format that he's done. The ability to have the long format conversation where it's not interrupted every 45 seconds or whatever with a little this, that commercial. Howard did pioneer that. And then all of a sudden,
he stepped back.
Yeah, he's like, wait, we can do video too? So next thing you know, you got Howard TV, which was pay-per-view at the time on I think it was Warner Cable at the time.
Yeah, I forget which one it was, but you could watch his show.
Yeah, and now like it's directly through Sirius XM, where their app is no different than like say Spotify or something like that, where you can just go right on if you got a subscription. You can watch the show, and he's literally doing a podcast, but with like a huge fucking staff, with a staff of like 300 people.
Yeah, he's got a lot.
Yeah, well, I think that was part of his deal. I mean, when he went over to Sirius, he ended up getting like another $500 million contract.
Unbelievable. That's crazy money.
Plus, he got a part ownership, like he got stock, and I think
I remember the contract being like where he did get stock options, like he kills it. He is XM Radio or Sirius now.
Well, yeah, he's the driving force behind why XM or Sirius took over XM.
Sure.
But yeah, my understanding is like he has to pay for all that out of his contract deal. Like he pays for all the employees. They give him the studio if he wants to remodel it.
He has like those 3 guys that work for him too, and then of course Robin, and then like I've seen all the cameras.
Fred,
and everything.
There's Fred. There's Gary. Artie used to be there. Artie Lang, comedian. They call it the Jackie chair.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Kind of getting into weird Howard history. Man.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it goes into the sports thing too. I mean, you've got Dan Patrick, who's got, and the Danettes, and it's live now. Like it's on TV. You watch it. It's on my cable. You've got Colin Cowherd, who I love. His show. It's all videotaped and all. these aren't just podcasts anymore. Everything's video as well now, and you have to be aesthetically pleasing, and you've got to know what you're doing and how to relate to the people that want to watch you. You just can't be some Joe Blow off the street, start a podcast, and boom, you're good because you have good content.
Yeah,
there's way more to it than that. Way more to it.
Well, starting this, I mean, it started out with just a microphone in front of my webcam in my office, and I would just sit there and.
Webcam's such a weird name.
Yeah, it is. It almost sounds like a porn, right?
It does. Like
right,
everything.
Yeah. Like
When everybody says webcam, you're like, really?
I'm a webcam girl. But literally, that's all it was just me sitting in front with a microphone on a boom in my office, talking, so I could literally kind of see myself. Because that's honestly why I love doing these. It's probably why y'all show is so well, because you're not sitting there talking to yourself. Like, you have somebody to play off of.
Yes.
And you have somebody to look at. When I'm sitting there looking at the camera by myself, I'm like, it's awkward.
You ever watch your shows?
Yeah, because I critique.
But you're like, it's hard for me.
Yeah,
it's hard. I sit down. My kids, they'll watch it all the time. They'll put it on the TV.
Yep.
And I'm like, I'm like, turn it off. Or they'll ask Alexa, hey, play Sports with Walls podcast. I'm like, shut it off.
Yeah.
I don't know why. It's hard for me to because I will critique it, like you're saying. Like, I'll just get into it and be like, no, and I don't want to over critique myself or try to change too much. You want to keep it original, but I can't watch myself too much, man. I can't. Yeah. It's hard.
I'll sit there and say, oh God, man, I should have fucking done this here. I should have done this here. Stop doing this stuff. And I'm like, you know what? No, this is natural. It's just, it is what it is. It comes out. And so I've got to the point where I don't watch the show.
Yeah.
Like, I've got 70 shows that are up now. And I've just stopped at this point. Like, even watching.
Just let it go and let it marinate on its own. Yeah.
If it doesn't, whatever. Someone wants to tell me they want to call me an asshole on YouTube or whatever, that's totally fine. But
that happens.
Yeah,
you'll get more of it. I mean, it's just the nature of the beast. And in fact, I mean, because when that guy commented, because I throw stuff out there on all our social media sites with sports and stuff. There's always one or two guys that are just like assholes, right? And if you I sat there and if you don't have haters, you're doing something wrong.
Right.
Like you have to, and that's driving force. I can't stand Stephen A. Smith. Like, holy crap, dude. But man, he's the second highest paid analyst out there, and people he drives people to go somewhere, right? So whether it be in a bad, whether it's derogatory or positive, like Stephen A. Smith is a driving force. I can't stand him. Drives me absolutely crazy. But damn it, people watch him.
But I think with someone like him, I actually kind of sat down and thought about this. I think it has more to do with the fact that people love sports so much that they want to hear his even where he goes with it the majority of the time, because everything is about it's completely one side. It's extremely negative towards one group of the community.
He's 100% clickbait.
Yeah, absolutely. He's just saying shit so people pay attention.
Sure.
But that says something about sports, that people love sports so much that they're willing to put up with
that
shit,
that crap,
just so they can hear every once in a while. Because he does come up with a nugget of things.
Yeah, he's creative. I think he worked for, if I'm correct, he worked for entertainment. What was that? Like, not the Sun. What was that magazine? Inquirer, National Enquirer.
Okay.
That's how he started off. He worked for the National Enquirer. I mean, he's very creative with what he's trying to get out there. I mean, that whole voice he does and getting all charismatic. I mean, it's an act, right? That's what it is. It's clickbait.
His
TV
for him. Personality. Of course.
Yeah. And ESPN, and it's some of the part that bothered me a little bit is they're very scripted. Yeah. You're going to argue this side tomorrow, and you're going to argue this side tomorrow. If you ever catch them off guard and just ask them a straight up question without being prepared to argue one way or the other, it's different. It's way different, but then, and I guess that's where we go with our show is, man, we just shoot from the hip, man. We're just sitting down shooting the shit just like we are right here. And that's what I loved about it.
Have you, so are you the sole owner of the show?
Yes, sir. 100%.
So you have, that's the number one thing is I've been approached already and there's you're not agreeing to give up any creativity yet. Control over it?
No.
For
people,
the right dollar amount, maybe.
Yeah, sure, right? Yeah. I mean, you're in this for a reason, but I kind of it's hard, when you create something from nothing and then you put in all your hard. It's hard to monetize it, right? So what's the value? I don't know, and then how much percentage do I want to get up and for this and this and this, because you do need dollars to keep things running. You need advertising dollars. You need all kinds of stuff. People. Just to put this up on all these other sites, man, that's hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of dollars a month just to keep it running on all these other sites.
Yeah.
And you want, of course, advertising budgets and marketing budgets and this, but how much you're willing to give up. It's just hard to put a number on things, man. And we've been working with iVox now for a little bit, and it looked like it was going, then it came back. Then it looked like it was going, then it came back. And now it's finally, going on Monday. So, once this all goes through, the value of the show will definitely, skyrocket. So I don't know. I don't know exactly what I'm up yet. And of course, the first person that's going to get any sort of percentage of the company would be Lauren. So
yeah.
Me and her will probably have to get into that soon. We hope you're not listening, Lauren.
Well,
she's
going
to be like,
you want to talk about, and I've just recently gotten into this, and you talk about Facebook being a weird place. Of course,
yeah.
It is. But have you ever because I just got into this. I probably downloaded the app, a year ago. Never really paid attention to it, but Reddit.
I have not.
Okay. Oh my God. Don't.
Okay, all right.
So I go there because I'm a nerd and I like to just kind of read stuff, just learning different things. I'm in a bunch of different forums, just reading stuff, and it is so fucking toxic. It's like it is the most. It's like Twitter. It is the most vile people, and there is nothing positive on there. When people ask a sincere question, for example, I'm on this Texas subreddit. Again, even the whole structure of it fucking confuses me, just the way it all goes. But I'm on this Texas subreddit, and somebody from Greece is moving here. And they post on this subreddit to say, hey, I'm moving to Greece, or moving from Greece to Texas. What areas should you recommend?
Lord.
They're going through this. And immediately, it's not like an answer of anybody coming on to say, hey, Houston's got a great population or community, a Greece population or Greek population, or Dallas. Or, there's none of that. It's immediately, don't fucking go to Texas. They're a bunch of racists. They're a bunch, it's like holy, and it's just this fucking just on and on.
Constant.
Yeah.
And then it turns into a battle and it has nothing to do with the actual subject.
Yes. I went on for 30 minutes reading shit, and it was just, there was nothing answering this poor person's question.
Yep.
It was just like, and then next thing you know, you got two people going back and forth. I will say this, there are some pretty funny people on there. And the way
I love those people, the witty people that come
Yeah.
up with amazing stuff that just throws people off. I absolutely love those people.
there was something happened, and somebody they made a reference to this old song. They referred to this old song. It was like an old cowboy song, and the next person that commented on it, and it was the topic was about space, but this is like down on the anyway.
I would have loved for you to keep going.
I can't. I'm trying to think
song.
in the West Texas. Anyway, I'm thinking of the name of. I'm trying to think of this shit. But anyway, the topic was about space, and someone referenced an old cowboy song. And the next thing you know is somebody did a line from the song, but oriented towards space. And then 20 more people under that used different lines. The next verse after verse after verse, and in my head, I'm reading these comments, literally singing this to the beat of the song in my head. I'm like, you all deserve a fucking reward.
Yeah, of course. Thanks you for changing it up and not being so negative, and let's have fun.
Yeah, it was great. It was, but it's such a horrible place, man.
Facebook, for, a story just like that. So the other day I posted about Deshaun Watson. 22 civil cases out, being investigated by the FBI. He's got 8 criminal cases that, not yet. He's not charged yet, but they're investigating 8 criminal. And I've read all the court reports. It's terrible. It's nasty what he's done.
Yeah.
So I posted the other day, allegedly. Sorry, my bad. So I just posted there. The Texans have a difficult decision. What should they do? Do they keep Deshaun Watson, or and try to go through this, or do they trade him? In my opinion, I think they need to trade him right now so they can try to get as much as they can out of it. Because if the civil if the civil cases get dropped, then he's gonna have, or go forward, he's gonna have major problems. Right? The comments had nothing to do with my question about the Texans. zero.
Yeah.
It was like, what the hell do you think? It turned into a legal battle, like in the comments, some racist stuff in there. I mean, it just, Facebook goes, these people just go on into a whole other planet. And I kept, after every, 12 or 13 comments I would post in there, is anybody going to answer the actual question that I posted up there, but nope, nobody does. It's just like, whoop.
You posted yesterday, and it was simply about a problem, and you didn't even type it. You screenshotted somebody's Twitter post or something like that, and it was about some of the most recent famous cases in the NFL. Legal issues. Ray Rice.
Yeah, because Calvin Ridley had gotten suspended for gambling,
right? Now,
for the whole season.
Was he gambling on his own games or just gambling on NFL games in general?
Well, he did gamble on other games, but he gambled on the Atlanta Falcons too.
Okay. So
that
makes
sense. It was $1,500. I don't think he should have been suspended the whole season. But then, I posted that because there's people that have beaten their wives. There's people that have beaten children that accused. Now, look, I don't care. Like, you can go into details on every different one of those, but there are. I mean, what's worse? Putting $1,500 bet against a team. When you're not even playing, you're out the season. He took a mental health break, which that's a whole nother subject. But this is so he bet $1,500, or this guy beating the living shit out of his wife.
Yeah, that's
he got 4 games.
Well, you posted that, and I honestly got kind of the context of it. It's like you literally have people that are accused of murder.
Yes,
stuff like this. You have people that are on video beating the shit out of their wives, and they're suspended half of a season or whatever. And you have a guy that it's not the same. It's equivalency is not the same. And then you go on to the fact that the major sponsor in Vegas is Caesar's Palace.
Yes, it's Caesar's.
Yeah, the official sports book of the NFL is Caesar's Palace.
Yep.
And you're like, what? Like I get it. Yeah, it probably should have been suspended for a couple games.
Not the whole season.
Should have been fined.
But they're talking about the integrity of the game. Come on, man. This
is not Pete Rose. This is not Pete Rose where he's going to a bookie and betting on his, betting on this other shit. This is a guy using a legal.
He bet on FanDuel.
Yeah, legal avenue that is promoted during the NFL. If you watch ESPN, when they talk about on Sundays, you go in there and watch on Sunday morning. The whole selection process is presented by FanDuel.
Yeah,
on ESPN.
Gambling. Yeah, it's all gambling. Now, look, I mean, I understand that you're not supposed to gamble on games, and especially Pete Rose is gambling in games he actually played in and managed, which is different. This guy was off field. He was in Florida. He couldn't play for mental health reasons. But but to your point, the comments went off the rails on completely different subjects.
Well, yeah, it's like, oh, yeah, exactly. I'm looking at him like not one person on this post is even talking about what's there, the context of it. They're just like, oh, well, why is it only this group of people?
Yeah, it turned into a racist thing.
Yeah, we're like, the topic's not even about race. It's literally about, hey, it's not the fucking same to beat your wife as it is to gamble on a football game.
Was the point of the post, but it turned into, why is it all black people on there? I'm like, oh my God, y'all. Like, I mean, it's just, and when you're doing these things in podcasts in general, I'm sure this happens to you a lot as well. I mean, people just come up with they just want to interject and make sure their comment is well, like even though it has nothing to do with the subject, they just want to throw stuff in there so they can feel like they're making a presence and they're feeling important. And it's just like, all right, man, like here, have your little 2 seconds of sunshine.
That's exactly what I've gotten off a lot of this is when people do say things to me, it's like I've had the positive side of this where it says, man, you know what, hey, good for you. You just kind of went out there and you just
I love those.
You just threw it, and that's a. Like, to me, that's a true visceral response from somebody like, man, I could never do that. That's being self-aware, and they recognize that. They're like, man, that's awesome that you're doing that. Then you have the other people that come on the other side, and they want to talk their shit to you, and they want to say these nasty. And what that is, that's their own insecurity coming out to say, you know what, fuck, I wish I could do that, but instead I'm going to shit on him.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah.
It's I can't do this myself, so I'm going to make you feel like fucking shit.
Yep.
And that is the Facebook, that's the Twitter, that's the Reddit. God, the
Reddit. I've got a couple of guys that I haven't even deleted from my Facebook.
Yeah.
Because every time they'll comment some weird shit on purpose,
and
I'm like, oh, you guys, like, and I just laugh now. I'm like, because every time, like, I'll post something, and then somebody will say, "Is this real?" Is this blah blah blah. I'll do like some breaking news stuff or whatever, and then this one guy always comes on, he's like, "Oh, he just says random shit," blah blah blah, and I'm like, "Oh man, there he is again." But on purpose, I don't delete him because I'm like, just bring it on, man. Like that's
I never delete anybody.
No,
but that's why I actually got a compliment from somebody is that. I don't use Twitter. I don't use those accounts. What I do is I like the format of when you post something there, when you can screenshot it because it gives a pure white background.
Yep.
And I can make memes out of it. And so I have this thing, it's your idiot boyfriend. And it's literally from the thought process of there's guys that feel a certain way and they think something, but they don't say it for fear of whatever else.
Yeah.
So it's literally, I created this where I can literally say the most obscure, fucked up stuff and put it out there because this is like just real guys' thoughts. Just making fun of, look, I can make fun of Trump on there. I can make fun of Biden on there.
Yeah.
I can talk shit about Russia,
Anything.
Ukraine. I can reference COVID and all these other things. Of course, I get warnings out the fucking
yeah.
on it.
Yeah.
But I put it up there and to me, I was so surprised. I thought that would be the one thing I did that would catch so much hate.
Yep. Didn't.
Never, not one time.
Wow.
Never one time. And it's sometimes it's pretty fucking like yesterday I posted something about, look, I'll be honest. During beginning of COVID, I was offered $15,000 to start an OnlyFans page.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, and I was like, hell, God,
wow.
hell no.
I've never had that.
all it was, I had somebody come to me because just posting workout videos.
Yep.
They were like,
and look, to be fair, for what you're saying, for those people that don't understand, OnlyFans has this stigma of naked women.
yeah,
That's not what it started out as.
No,
the OnlyFans is OnlyFans for anything.
Paid content for
Podcasts,
anything.
workouts,
Yeah.
like anything. Yeah, yeah.
Well, this was to get me to do workout stuff naked.
Oh,
Yeah.
like completely.
Yeah. Yeah.
Wow.
Like do lifting weights in my home gym and stuff
Balls
like that.
out.
Yeah.
Everything.
Butt naked push-ups. Hashtag
Whoa.
butt naked push-ups, man.
Oh, not even a banana hammock.
No, nothing. It was
Nothing?
literally just to do
Oh my God.
and I was like, absolutely fucking not. But people don't know that. Like people
They do now.
They do now. But I was offered this about 2 years ago, and so I made a comment. It's like, man, if the gas prices start going back up or keep going up
Might
the
have
way
to
they
do my
are,
OnlyFans.
I may have to reconsider my OnlyFans.
Yeah.
And what's funny to me is like the amount that like the people like comment, love that shit, they think it's funny, and then it gets shared. Just constantly getting shared off Instagram and Facebook and stuff like that. And you're like, oh,
have you gone viral yet on any one of your posts?
No, I would say I had a post. I had a couple different posts last year that got shared like several hundred times. Well, let me back this up. I put something on my Facebook page, not my personal one, the show Facebook page, and it was about Shane Vitko. It was a show I did with Shane Vitko. Had a big podcast with a guy named Tommy Vext called The Deviant Gentleman. He's the lead singer of Bad Wolves.
Okay.
Anyway, I put that up on the Facebook page, and that got like, that got like 18,000 likes or something like that. So that was pretty surprising, but that's about it.
I put something about Nicki Minaj like 3 years ago or 2 years ago. And man, it went crazy because it was a picture of her at like one of the video awards, and it was a really bad photo of her. And I wasn't woman shaming her. I was just like, this is your role model for blah blah, because it said something about her lyrics, and it was pretty bad. And then hold on, let me tell. That's iVox. But it went crazy. I had something like over 4,000 comments on there. It was wild.
Yeah.
And people, it's weird. You'll see people come to your defense, right? Because they understand kind of like where you're going. Like it wasn't supposed to be a negative. It wasn't supposed to be negative towards her. But man, these things take on a life of their own.
Yeah.
It's like, whoa, all right, we all just took off with that one. Then y'all go ahead, and man, it turns into you don't even have to comment. You just sit there and watch these other people go to town. And you're just like, wow, y'all must be bored.
Yeah, like
this is
hundreds
crazy.
upon hundreds upon.
Yeah,
yeah. I trip out when I see some of those. But they're fun. Like there's that one that
it's
was
entertaining, man.
Like last year, it was this lady. She was a good looking blonde lady, but she had big boobs, and she was in shape, but she had this itty bitty bikini on. Do you remember seeing this thing?
I don't think so.
Well, she had this. It was the absolute tiniest bikini, and it's a picture from the front. She's taking a picture in the mirror, and she's advertising the sale of this bikini.
Yeah.
And like the women that were commenting on
Oh,
there,
I know what you're talking about. Like
they're-
the tiny, I mean, like the little like a little,
Yes.
little triangle by her hooey or whatever.
The women are like, there's no way my whisker biscuit is fitting inside
Yeah,
that
yeah.
thing. Like,
I love some of those comments.
yeah, I was
Whisker
dying.
biscuit.
Like I was dying. All these women making these comments. They're like, there's no way it's fitting inside that thing. But
I love when people turn it into comedy and fun, man. That's because that to me is what social media is supposed to be about. It's supposed to have fun. Of course, you're gonna have the negative comments, whatever. But when people, I love those people that are that witty. Like I'm really not like that witty. As far as I'm not a keyboard warrior. Some of them say, whatever. Like I'm not that witty to come up with stuff off the top of my brain like that.
Yeah.
But some of those people are hysterical. Some of their comments are just absolutely. I'm like, wow, how did you come up with that?
I've got a guy. Eventually, I'm gonna have him on the show, and we more or less kind of grew up together. He lives out east, or grew up out east, I believe. But anyway, when Trump Biden election was going on, all this other stuff, every fucking time he would comment on something, it would just be this long diatribe, and it was very well thought out and it was very detailed, and he knew what he was talking about. But it was never considerate of like, the possibility of another option. It was only this is the way, and Trump's a big fucking piece of shit. Hey, look, in his personal life, he might have said some nasty shit. He did say a bunch of nasty shit that I don't fucking like. I don't care. Like I don't care for that kind of, behavior. I don't want to hear that kind of stuff. But to me, obviously, the election was something different. Everything else was something different. But like having this, like getting into that, and I'm like, man, I can't use social media in that way, going down that negative road. Like I have no problem having a conversation on here with somebody. They want to talk about race. But that's a fair conversation. Getting into these fucking text wars with people.
Oh, dude, because it's never ending. There's no winner.
No,
they just keep going and going and going. I mean, being on the platforms that we have, man, it's never ending with some of these people. They're not going to stop. It doesn't matter what you say. There's no proving them right.
Yeah.
They're going to hammer the hell out of you, man. And they'll bring up random, a basketball subject will end up turning into race, that will end up turning into political. And the next thing you know, an hour and a half later, you're still typing away and you've left 50 messages and you're like, whoa, this is just, none of it. You're like, why did I even start?
Yeah.
Like, this is ridiculous.
I've
These
just
people,
lost an hour,
of my whole life. Yeah, it's terrible.
Well, I got into a conversation with a guy because, of course, when Ukraine invaded Russia, or Russia invaded Ukraine, the other way around. Mm-hmm. When Russia invaded Ukraine, he made this comment simply about like referring about it, like referencing the people like Trump supporters.
Oh God.
And I'm like, well, let's like explain what you mean by this. Like when Trump was in office, nobody advanced anywhere in the world. I mean, like militarily, like no one came off center. They just stayed where the fuck they were, because it's like I heard this concept the other day. It's not that Trump was like the best leader in the world. It's you didn't know what the fuck he was going to do. Like you weren't sure how he was going to respond. So you were just better off just saying, you know what? I'm not going to do anything. That's why everything kind of stayed. And that made sense to me. But he was, this guy was like, it was just, he was kind of speaking from some superficial level, and he didn't, like, it made no sense.
Yep.
And I said, okay, explain to me, why is it that if you're going to say this wasn't well thought out and planned, why did it happen 2 days after all the athletes left China? What athletes from around the world were gone? Why did Russia decide at that time to invade a sovereign nation? Okay. In 2014, when the democratically elected government of the Ukraine was overthrown through a military coup, and then the new government was essentially installed, who was president in 2014? Did he stop it? So I mean, now you got Obama and Biden not stopping two separate incursions into the Ukraine. Okay, then I said, I only asked the question: how did Hunter Biden, because he was going in this direction, I said, how did Hunter Biden get on the board of Burisma when he'd never had previous experience in that world? Like, how did he get on there and was being paid millions of dollars? Oh my God, where he went with this shit was like he started going through this report. Oh, this report's a joke. I said, no, I asked you 3 questions.
Didn't answer any of them.
Didn't answer a single one.
Yep.
And I literally stopped after 3 responses.
Yeah, because you have to. Otherwise, it's a deep hole. You're never getting out of.
Yeah, I just said,
they feed on that.
You're right.
There
I said, you're right.
There you go. Perfect.
You're right. I did throw a little dig in there. I said, you know what? everybody already assumes that you're sitting in your underwear in your mother's basement. And so I'm just going to leave this here and just say, hey, you win.
Yeah.
Because you need this. You need this victory more than I do.
And they do, man.
And I think I see people comment on sports.
Oh yeah, it's the same sports, politics, and there's a couple other subjects. People just, I mean, man, they're passionate. They are passionate, and it is that keyboard warrior thing that they're hiding behind, and they just want a constant just go at it. And if it's almost like, and it's not just our platforms, right? They'll jump to they're on other ones. Everybody, because they need that negative. They want those responses.
Yeah.
They want to sit there.
You're flipping through during your show. You're trying to flip through these platforms so you can respond. These sons of bitches got 10 screens set up, so they're
everywhere.
Yeah. I was going to ask you, because again, I've only kind of observed it kind of from like 10,000 feet. I don't get it. What's going on in the MLB right now?
Baseball. A lot of people, the obviously players are saying it's the owner's fault. The owners aren't saying it's the players' fault, but man, they're not far away on these topics at all. When you're talking about how much money these guys make, the other day, I forgot who it was, but he was like, don't act like it's billionaires and millionaires. Don't say it's billionaires versus millionaires. Well, the fuck it is not. Yeah. It is. Yeah. It's exactly what it is. Like, I mean, that is to a T. It's billionaires arguing with millionaires.
Yeah.
And they're like, oh, we're trying to set it up for what baseball is trying to. The Players Union, the Players Association, is trying to raise basically minimum wage, for the players coming up through AAA and whatever. And it's already up, it's already a lot. They're making decent money, but you have to have some sort of, balance, really. And the owners have offered the players so much already and gone their direction. And the players just keep saying no. They're like holding steadfast on their arguments. And baseball, unfortunately, like when was the last time baseball was actually on fire? Like awesome. It was steroid era.
Yeah, Mark McGwire,
Sammy Sosa.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Ever since then, it's just been a downhill battle. Or, baseball has got to do something. And then now they changed the shift rule, which is going to be a massive, massive argument.
Yeah, so they're banning the shift.
Yeah.
And the players agreed to that.
I guess. So I was reading up on it, and the Players Association agreed. So, and now other players are pissed off, and I'm like, I didn't like the shift, but you could have minimized it, say 3 a game.
Yeah.
Something like that.
Yeah.
3, 5 a game, not every single batter the shift.
Because the Astros were literally doing it in the batter.
Yeah, dude. The Astros shift the entire team with like Joey Gallo's playing with the Yankees, whatever. I mean, the whole team shifts to the right.
Yeah.
Everybody. There's no one in left.
You basically had Bregman damn near at second base.
Yes. No, he was. He was like almost center field with second. Like nobody was in left.
Yeah.
And so I like strategy. And I'm like the old, like you could have just said, okay, you only get 3 of them a game or 5 of them a game, something like that, so that way it makes it a little bit more strategic in what you do. But just banning the whole thing in general, I get it from a defensive standpoint. It makes the game more interesting. It makes it a lot more fun. You're going to see a lot more diving plays up the middle. A lot of shortstop's going to have to reach, the second baseman's going to have to run, and those are fun, right? Defensive gems. Mm-hmm. They're a lot of fun, but that's not baseball's problem. Yeah. Right now, they just need to get back to playing. And this money thing is driving the general public sees this as millionaires versus billionaires.
Yeah. And
that's exactly what it is, basically. Yeah. And y'all are arguing, let's say they're arguing over $10 million. Between all those people, that's a penny.
Yeah.
Like, stop it. Like, just let's move forward and get baseball season going, because as of tomorrow or as of tonight, if they won't have 162 games played if they don't get something done tonight. Baseball is going to cancel another week, which is going to now shorten the season, and it's just going to be a nightmare. And they're arguing over crap, man.
Well, yeah,
they really are.
They were arguing. I think the beginning was like the rookie contract or the whatever. It was like $735 million, something like that, and then they wanted that increased to like $750 or something, and then it's like $10,000 every year after that.
Yeah, and so basically, your beginning salary is, I think, $635. They wanted up to $735, which is fine. That's not a lot of money. That's minimum salary in baseball. That's if you make it to the majors, right? So that argument is not as big as what the players are trying to do to avoid tanking. All right, they're trying to, the draft compensations they're trying to get rid of and stuff like that. It's
like what the Astros did for 5 seasons.
Yeah, but the Astros had 3 100 loss seasons. It's terrible. I mean, tanking is an art. Like it really is. Like I'm sorry, like tanking's
Yeah, you like I did not mean to win that game. Like this was so accidental that we won it. Yeah, we were trying to lose.
I don't like tanking either, but I mean it's a part of what it's strategy and baseball. I just think they have bigger issues than this money crap. Like they really do. I mean, nobody was worried about what Mark McGwire or Sammy Sosa was getting paid back then. No, I mean they were like chicks dig the long ball, right? That like baseball has been trying to get back to excitement for a while. Now they're messing with trying to get a pitch clock, which wants to speed up the game.
Yeah.
An average NFL football game is like 3 hours and 14 minutes. An average MLB game is like 3 hours and 5 minutes. It's shorter than an NFL game.
Yeah.
Now, granted, the action's a little different,
right?
But I enjoy baseball. I'm like one of the old heads, so I love baseball. But, the younger generation coming up, man, it's just, everything's immediate. They want quick action now.
Yeah.
But,
30-second snippets.
Yeah, the MLB and the Players Association need to get their shit together, man. And it needs to happen quick because they're going to lose a lot of fans over this. And it's not even, I mean, the issues aren't even that big. They're really not compared to, like, the grand scheme of things. Y'all can work on this throughout the season.
Yeah.
Just get the damn season going.
Yeah.
Like, this is stupid.
Yeah. Yeah, well, I mean, it's not like, quite honestly, the one, like they don't have in baseball, they don't have a lot of the perceived social issues there. It's purely money.
Yep, that's it.
And it has nothing to do with where you're from or what color you are, your sexual orientation.
Nope. There's no black managers aren't enough, black players aren't enough, there's none of that. Just like you said, it's strictly money. And that's frustrating to a fan. And then to get charged out the ass when you go to these games, for a beer, for parking, for it's really expensive. And then y'all are bitching about all this money. So that's why, I mean, look, that's why baseball's been losing fans. It needs to go back to being fun to go to a baseball game, not like a $250 trip.
Yeah, well, that's always been the thing is my birthday is always around within like a day. Sometimes it's on my birthday, but it's usually within a couple days of opening day.
Yeah, March 31st, April 1st.
Yeah. So this year, it's a little bit earlier this year because we have a home because we start out at home versus starting out on the road.
Well, not anymore.
Yeah, exactly. But so like I'm April 7th, and so like that was my birthday present to myself because parking's $50 and the game tickets are $75 to $125 for decent seats. And then if you're gonna buy a fucking hot dog and a drink and all this other stuff, you're already. And then, of course, you got to do the 50-50. And because, hey, look, I'm feeling good. I'm feeling charitable. I'm buying $20 worth of 50-50. You walk away and it's $250 to $300. And I'm like, okay, that's my birthday present to myself.
That's in the summertime, one electric bill. But right now, that's 2 months of electricity in your house.
Yeah.
Just to go see a 3-hour baseball game.
Yeah.
And it should not be that way. I think that's more, and it's not as enjoyable as it used to be because you're in there broke, and a lot of people are. I remember we used to buy the $5 tickets at Minute Maid, me and my buddy Blay, and we would just go up to upper decks. 'Cause anywhere in Minute Maid, I love that whole stadium.
It's fantastic.
We would sneak in, and you can't sneak in alcohol anymore. Well, you can, but I'm not gonna tell you how to do that. But we'd sneak in a bottle of Crown, man, and we'd just buy Coca-Cola, and we'd sit up at the top, man, and just sip on Crown and Cokes for the first 2 hours. By the time the 7th inning came, man, we were having a blast.
Yeah.
And those are the rowdy
really
fans.
Stretch,
Exactly. But I mean, it's just it's not enjoyable unless you really love the game of baseball.
Yeah.
It's not enjoyable to go there anymore.
Yeah.
Now, I took my son last year and he caught a ball. He's 7 years old now. He's 6. He got it bounced off a couple of seats, but he got one. But it was awesome.
I've been to a couple hundred games, dude. Never caught a ball.
Really? I've gotten 2, and he got one.
I had season tickets for a decade. Okay. The first season tickets I had were at the end of the third baseline.
Yeah. Oh wow.
Like,
you should have got something.
Yeah. Just in the pie piece, like right to the right of the third base. Never caught a ball.
Wow.
Then I had 2 years in like the 15th row behind the visitors' dugout, and never caught a fucking ball.
Damn.
I've never caught a ball. That was my dad. Our thing was baseball.
Yep.
Never caught a ball. Dude, I was in the Crawford boxes for last year's opening game. I sat front row 1 in the Crawford boxes. Didn't even get a ball from like the warm-ups and shit, man. I couldn't get.
I'm not going to a baseball game with you.
I was like, what the hell, man? And I'll have a buddy of mine. He's like, man, I caught a ball. He's like, this is the first game I've ever been to. Fuck you. Don't,
Yeah.
It's the worst, man. I've never caught a ball.
Well, my daughter ended up. So she got jealous that she didn't go to the game. So she hid it somewhere. We can't find it. She's like, don't worry, I'll pay. I'm like, woman, you need to bring that ball to me. Like, and so it's somewhere in my house. She has hid it from her brother because she's just jealous, pissed off.
But
I'll have to take her.
You go there, and you're upset the entire time because you just spent $14.
Yeah, you're checking
beer.
your phone, like, how much money did I just spend?
Yeah.
You're like, holy crap! Yeah, it's expensive to go to the baseball games now. And granted, they have the Tuesday businessman specials during the afternoons, or Wednesday when they're traveling.
Dollar hot dog nights.
Yeah, there's dollar hot dog nights. There's all sorts of stuff that they try to do these specials to bring in people. But man, it's not working like it used to. The average, I know so many people when I do a post about baseball or talk about it, they're like, I'm done with baseball. And I'm like, wow, they need to do something. I didn't care about the steroid era. I didn't. I thought it was awesome.
Yeah.
I thought it was fantastic. Like hitting 500-foot home runs, for 102-mile-an-hour fastball. That's great. Like that's fun.
now, in order to get that, you got to be like a 6'8", guy that weighs 270 pounds.
I just never understood why. I mean, look, like those guys. Some of them are absolutely enormous. Like they're still doing HGH or some sort of, what in the NFL. What they don't test for steroids. Have you seen what happens to those guys when they come off the NFL field?
They shrivel up.
Well, okay, and it's
Jason
like,
Allen.
wow.
Jason Allen he just signed with Miami Hurricanes. He's going to be an off-field analyst for the Miami Hurricanes. He's like a shell.
Jason Taylor.
Sorry, Jason Taylor. Yeah, I was like, Jason Allen, I think, might be a basketball player. Jason Taylor, yeah.
He's tiny.
He's tiny.
Yeah. No, he wasn't taking any steroids.
Never. None.
But that's why football's fun. It's a bunch of huge dudes that can run 4.240s going at it, dude. Like, so baseball needs to, stop testing for some things, because even like Adderall, like 2 of the Astros got suspended for games because of Adderall, because that's a performance enhancing. I'm like, really? Adderall? Whatever. Like that's up.
We give it to 7-year-olds.
Yeah, it's been frustrating.
But it is kind of like meth.
Yeah,
it's a little bit like meth.
Yeah,
It's
Adderall.
a little bit like meth,
Oh man, I was having this girl I'm talking to now. We were having a conversation about this the other day, like, because I was on Ridley when I was like 7th grade, right? I was one of the first Ritalin kids, and like I remember like. I remember taking it and just being like, you're super concentrated. Like it works, right? But as soon as you get distracted, you're super concentrated on whatever you're distracted for. So yeah, you're just like, oh man, and so you're off and running in that direction. Like so it's Adderall. Like everybody's got an Adderall story. It's hysterical. Everybody does. Yeah. It's almost like a drunk story. Everybody's like, oh my god, I took it and I cleaned my whole house for 3 days straight. like everybody's got a great Adderall story.
Yeah, I pulled all the little burners out of the range. And got down there with a fucking toothbrush.
Yeah, because it's in there. I cleaned my grill outside. It was raining. I was like, oh my god! All right.
I took apart the entire lawnmower. And, But yeah, I do agree. Baseball has a major issue with that because of the pace of the game. Mm-hmm. Like I think people would tolerate the pace of the game if it was shorter somehow. But we're never going to get away from the 9 innings and all the other bullshit that goes on between. That would destroy the game by itself.
They're trying to make 7 innings. I'm like, don't do that.
No, don't do that.
Leave it alone. Like baseball was fine. Baseball's been America's game. Yeah. It's been fun. Y'all just imposed too many rules. Yeah. Relax. Yeah. I understand that like the rules and stuff are sacred in baseball and this, but y'all need to relax. Like all the other sports have relaxed. The NBA, there's no hand checking anymore, and apparently it's more entertaining. I'm not a big NBA fan of what it is right now because I like the old school, but NFL's the biggest sport in the world. Yeah. They are booming. Yeah. Because they don't allow pass interference is you can't even touch them anymore. Yeah. It's entertaining. So MLB just needs to relax on their rules. Instead of implementing more rules, relax. Yeah. Let the guys go out there and have some fun.
Yeah, well, that's the thing is the MLB unfortunately is trying to follow the NFL cycle. NFL made a determination 20 years ago that they had it was like a 14-week season at that time or something like that. And between the draft, the combine, and some other stuff, they were basically in the news like 30 weeks out of the year. So they made a determination that they wanted to be in the news cycle every week. There had to be something going on within the NFL every single week. And so MLB's trying to do that, but unfortunately they're really causing a downfall because they're trying to put more into the sport Instead of like the NFL, I think improved TV wise by putting some of the restrictions on for roughing the passer, by putting some of the because there's more penalties. There's like the people like they're having to play harder.
Yep.
You don't have that in baseball because you don't have contact. You know, in football, to get to be a good defensive to stop an amazing pass, like you have to play harder rather than just turning around and knocking that motherfucker to the ground, like pushing the guy to the ground. Baseball, you're by instituting all these rules, you're actually taking away from the sport.
Yeah, you need to simplify it again.
Baseball's a game of chess, where football really, to me, is a game of checkers.
That old adjective, what less is more.
Yeah.
Right. So just let the guys stop doing all this bullshit with all these rules and they're trying to change it.
Yeah.
Well, when they should just leave it alone and let the game play and y'all have fun. But yeah, I agree. And now you got the owners and obviously the owners and players arguing over tic-tac shit. And they're like, oh, we're trying to protect it for the players coming up. No, the fuck you aren't.
Yeah.
Like, come on, man. Nobody believes a bit of that fucking.
You're protecting your checkbook.
Yeah, nobody is gonna fall for that. Players, like nobody. Y'all just want more money. That's stupid.
And
dude.
that goes back to the crazy part. Their take, the take they have at the games, the price of the tickets, the price of the beer, all this other stuff. I mean, if you average like on a Friday night, Friday, Saturday games here in Houston, where you got 25,000, 30,000 people there that are spending an average of $100
Yeah, do
per
that
person.
math.
Yeah, you just took in $30 million.
Yeah, the owners making money, the players are making money. And the thing is, I brought this up the other day on the show. Most of these players have never even had a fucking job.
Yeah.
80% of them, because they've been baseball players their entire life.
Yeah.
Junior high, high school, college, pros, they've never fucking had a job.
Right.
For probably 80% of them, maybe even more.
Yeah.
And now y'all are bitching
about
more fucking money. I need $220 million instead of 200. Man, you need slapped.
Yeah.
Is what you need. Like, that is ridiculous. And the players say, "Oh, it's the owners. They're rich." Well, look, these owners, all right. And I'm not trying to take the owner's side, but those owners, that's not even their main business. They bought those sports franchises because it was a hobby. Yeah. They were like, "Oh, I want to buy a sports franchise." Those are hardworking individuals. They work their ass off to earn those billions of dollars. You think they're going to give it to some kid that's never had a job that he just gave $200 million to? No. Yeah. So I understand the owners reserve, from these players. It's like, dude, you guys make enough. Like, you're playing baseball.
Yeah.
Let's not get out of hand here. You're playing fucking baseball.
And at the end of the day, it's like Crane. Yeah, I mean, owns a huge logistics company and everything, employs thousands upon thousands upon thousands of people. You go to these baseball players. Yeah, you guys are getting paid millions upon millions upon
private jets, model girlfriends, houses, mansions, cars.
Hey, good for them.
Yeah,
but it's not in defense of the owners, but Jesus, God, guys, come on, man.
Dude,
You're playing a game that you wanted to play for free.
Yes,
when you were a kid.
Yep.
Again, goes back to doing what we're doing. You have your show. It's the love of it, and of course you want to make money, but at the same time, am I going to sacrifice? Am I going to shut my show down because I don't get this particular over here? No, I was doing this shit for fucking free.
If somebody comes to me tomorrow and says, "I'll give you $500,000 for sports with balls," well, guess what? I don't own sports with balls anymore. Yeah. That's $500,000. I start another one, But that's not going to happen. But it's these guys they've gotten that much money. The contracts that were signed before this lockout even happened, like you're talking about $250 million contracts. They signed something like $2.4 billion to major league players right before this lockout. Man, like you said, y'all were playing this game for free, and not that you should anymore. I get it, but y'all are arguing over just, a little bit too much.
In reality, a lot of these players now over the last, say, 10 years, they actually weren't playing for free because they got some type of compensation during high school. They got some type of compensation during college. They were getting cars. They were getting housing. They were getting clothing, food.
And most of their parents had money. Baseball's an expensive sport. Yeah. Like, a lot of their parents had money, especially, not the guys coming from the Dominican Republic. They've worked, but, man, these guys are well taken care of.
Yes.
They are, and they shouldn't be arguing for more money. Like, man, and this is the problem that baseball is having. It goes back to it. Like, y'all stop arguing about all this shit, man. Focus on the game. Let's make the game a little bit more interesting, and y'all get back to actually playing it, and not like, oh, my ankle hurts, so I'm going to sit out today. Like, what was it? I think when A-Rod signed his contract, he made like $75,000 every plate appearance. Just to walk up, and it was like something like $30,000 every ball that was thrown past him. Like,
which is the most insane thing I see about pitchers. You make 18 to 20 starts a year, and you're literally
they make about 30. They make about 30 starts because they'll probably get a 21 and if they're good 21-7 record. That's they probably make 30 to 35 starts.
Without getting any kind of injury or whatever. They're not getting pulled for reserve for the playoffs or going out there, whatever.
Or suspended for Adderall.
Yeah. But you go to Clayton Kershaw. He's getting paid $31.5 million, and he's literally getting paid right at $1 million per fucking start. Like that's insane.
That's and those are
them, I guess, but
you're only worth what somebody's going to pay you, right? But that's where the owners are like, dude, come on, man, like this is ridiculous. Y'all are just don't bite the hand that feeds you, and it's like these owners that they own. Y'all cannot play this year, and y'all won't be fine because y'all are going to miss out on a lot of money. Trust me, these owners will be just fine.
They're making plenty of money.
They're making plenty of money. Really, y'all are arguing with the wrong people.
The value of their franchises are just going to go up.
Yeah, of course.
It's not like they're going to go down because they own all the assets and everything else. Yeah, they don't realize that they're going to hurt themselves.
Yeah, and they just want. I don't care with anybody. It's more money. That's all it boiled. They're like, no, it's not. Yeah, read. It's more. Y'all want more money. Yeah. That's exactly what it says right here. It says y'all want more money.
Yeah.
And it's getting annoying, and they really need to just get back and start playing fun baseball.
Yeah.
And people are tired of the Dodgers. So just to throw that in there.
Well, look, Jeff, where can everybody find Sports with Balls? Where can they find it at?
Man, just type it in on your keyboard or your phone on any platform. We're on every single major platform out there. Talk to Alexa, YouTube, Twitter, Twitch, Facebook, Instagram. Sports with Balls is out there. Myself and Lauren Leal, and look for us on the radio coming up next week. Be fun.
What stations you guys gonna be out on the West Coast?
I will get that to you probably this week. I'll shoot it over to you.
Great.
For sure.
Yeah, I'd like to put it up there so let everybody know, man.
Yeah, I mean, I have them written down at home. I just can't remember. There's like 6 of them on the West Coast, and then there's a couple in Vegas, and then I think Arizona, and then we're going to be in Dallas, Houston, Austin, here. So on our way to getting syndicated, that's the goal, right?
That's awesome, man.
Yes, sir.
Congratulations, man. Jeff Michael.
Thank you.
Man, hey.
Hey.
Thank you. All right.
Sir, thank you, man.
Yeah, Jeff
Had a
Michael,
blast.
everybody.
Yeah,
Appreciate
thank you guys. All right, man.